to Happy Wife, Happy Life. We're your hosts. I'm Kendahl Landreth.
And I'm Jordan Myrick.
And we are two incredibly unqualified,
but deeply in love comedians who are here to help you with all things relationships.
And this week, we're answering your questions. We're getting advice about your exes with Soph Mosca. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Soph.
Hi.
Thanks so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's so exciting.
It's so exciting.
It is so exciting. You know,
The
it's like,
unison.
well, we went through the pandemic with you.
Amazing.
We've watched you dance for what feels like 100 years.
It feels like 100 years for me too.
It's
It
so
really does.
it's so wild to have you here.
Thank you.
So when did you start TikTok?
2019.
And
I
that's what you started
posting.
on?
Yes.
TikTok.
Yeah.
And you were in high school?
No, I was in college.
In college, okay.
Yeah, I was in college. My roommates were like, "You should make dance videos." I was like, "Okay, sure." Downloaded the app and then.
How many videos did you make before one of them took off?
Like quite a few. I mean, I probably had it for a few months. Was posting like once in a while. And then my very first video was so random. I was like hanging upside down in a door frame and it just like
People loved it. They said, we want more of this.
They're like, she's upside down. Yay.
Fun. Okay. And then were you already out and identifying as a lesbian, gay, queer, whatever
Yes,
at that
but
point in time?
freshly.
Okay.
Very, very freshly.
Okay.
That's a big way to jump in because I feel like
Yes.
you I was not on TikTok for a long time,
Mhm.
so I'm sorry if I don't know any of the Hey Mama stuff that I'm supposed to know.
I hope
but
you don't. I really hope you don't.
I do feel that I don't, and I don't want to like make it a goal to maybe
No,
learn.
yeah,
But I like that's a big thing to jump into. Like I feel like you probably were on there as a fresh lesbian, and everyone was like, "I want to marry you."
It honestly though, it helped in a way because
Sure.
so I'm originally from a small town in New Hampshire,
Okay.
and well, now it seems to be a lot more inclusive. But I feel like back when I lived there, like no one was really out. There was a select few people, but it wasn't like commonplace to be out. And so when I did finally come out, like I was still in New Hampshire, but I was in college, and like I wasn't necessarily well. At first, I was ashamed of it for sure, but that's like another story.
As we all were, yeah.
But I was like okay with it. But
Yeah.
then seeing the internet be like excited about it
Yeah.
and like want more of it, it honestly helped me like come out more.
That's so nice.
It was really special, yeah.
The internet is evil.
Yeah.
And so it is nice to hear a story like that
For
where
sure.
you're like, oh, wait, the internet's kind of good.
Well, I think people forget because like you've always grown up in cities,
Yeah.
and I grew up in like a small town,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, no, people weren't even like I graduated high school in 2017. And people were not gay. That was like
Right.
not a thing. And like I know for you, it's like you knew gay people all growing up. That was like I knew
Well-
one gay person is Ellen DeGeneres. Obviously, did not know her personally.
You didn't know her, yeah. You're being overly familiar.
And I was like, I remember there was one kid in my class whose mom started dating a woman, and it was the talk of the fucking
Oh, I'm
town.
sure.
Like it was the biggest
Yeah.
deal. It was and it was not positive. It wasn't like a big deal in a good way. People were very like, you can go to their house, and it was very
Right.
dramatic. And so and that was so recent. And then I remember being a senior. I've talked about this before, but the freshman class came in, and they were all like, we're pansexual and we're non-binary, and I was like a closeted lesbian, and was like, wow, things are
Right.
really changing, which is great, but it is just things change very fast.
Yes.
Very fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I feel like me, unlike Kendahl, sorry, loser, but like me, you have a lot of exes.
Yes. Well,
That's
I mean,
normal. I feel like that's
you know
normal
what?
for a lesbian.
I mean, yes, I guess so for my age.
Yes.
For my age,
How
yes.
many exes would you like say you have?
3.
3.
Yes.
Okay. So that's actually not that many.
What about you?
I don't know. I feel like I have like 100. And I feel like I've been dumped 800,000 times.
You know what's so sad is that I feel like I'm like, how many exes do I have? And then I'm like, I feel like everyone I'm counting, I'm like, would they consider that a relationship? They were probably like, we were not dating.
That's what I wanted to know because I think there's so much of a spectrum of what people consider an ex.
Okay,
like
yeah.
what to you is an ex?
Like an exclusive relationship for at least a few months. Like it has
Okay.
to be like we are girlfriend, it's official. And I mean, I guess if you're official, like then it's your ex when you break up.
Sure.
You know?
So just like 2 hot and heavy months.
I guess
Not an ex.
I don't have like my relationship with women haven't been that short.
Got
if
it.
they're official.
Sure.
But I guess I would still consider it my ex
Okay.
if it's only been 2 months. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Are you like because I'm kind of like I'm not a sleeping around type of gal. Do you? I wish I was. I always was like, I really want to be more cool, and I'll do like a one night stand, and then I would do the one night stand, and I would be like, I'm in love with you, and they
Right.
were like, no, that's not what
Right.
I'm looking for. Are you like? Do you like being in a relationship? Like, is that fun for you? Do you feel like you thrive?
I do. very relationship oriented. Like that's where I feel the most comfortable for sure.
I'm in the same boat.
Why do you think that is?
Anxious attachment.
And we're getting into it.
I used to be very anxious attachment.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like I've improved a lot. I mean, I've like gone to a lot of therapy for it, but it was hard. It was very hard. But I do also think now that I'm secure, I still feel like I thrive so much in a relationship because I'm like, it's just nice to not be like, dating is not fun for me. Like
It's not
love
fun.
it's not fun
really
at all.
not.
I'm like, I want to like come home and like read my book in the bath and like be like, I just know you're in there. I don't need to like
right.
be flirting and like trying to put my best foot forward all the time. Like I can focus on things I want to do. Like whereas I think some people it's the opposite where they're like, well, I'm in a relationship so I can't focus on myself. I feel like completely the opposite where I can like get into a new hobby or whatever. Like that's nice for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it's like the comfort of having just like that one person that's like always there, even though of course like you never know, but it's the comfort of it, just like having them, even when you're not like physically with them, like you know that they're there.
And when you started dating women, was that first heartbreak very horrible?
So my first girlfriend, when we broke up, I was upset about it, but I wouldn't say that that was like a heartbreak. Like,
Wow.
I was like, okay, like, but I also think she was a lot older than me.
Sure.
And I was young and I like had just started social media and I was like, wait, like there's so much out there.
So you were getting a lot of attention.
I was. And so
Well,
I
and
was
you're probably
like,
winning that breakup so hard.
Yeah.
I don't talk to her. I honestly haven't talked to her in years.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I was just like, I was definitely sad. Like, I'm sure I cried about it. But it's not, I don't look back at it like, oh, that one hurt.
That's good, though, because I feel like that's a lesbian stereotype. Do you identify as a lesbian?
I do, yeah.
Okay, great. I just want to check. I'm, like, throwing that word around
Yeah.
a lot. So I just wanted to check in. I think that's a huge lesbian stereotype of being, like, that first heartbreak is devastating.
Oh, my first heartbreak was so bad. And it's so funny looking back. I sometimes think I should like text my first girlfriend and be like, I'm so sorry for how I was acting. Because the
Tell
whole
her.
time, absolutely not. I can't look her in the eyes. It's too much.
Listening?
I don't doubt it. But she was that great. We were both like 18. So it's like we were in it was a bad relationship. And we dated for like 4 months, which is so funny because I felt like I was like, we are getting married. Even though they were like, I'm not like they had told me. They were like, I don't think I'll ever marry. I'm sure they're in a very different place now, but they're like, I don't think I'll ever marry a woman because you know they grew up in Florida, and they're like, my parents wouldn't like that. I probably will just marry a man. And I still was like, but me, you're talking about me. I will be the man you.
I'm
will
that
marry.
man. Yeah.
And I was just so delusional. I was so obsessed with them, and I was like, we are in love. And they were so clearly looking back. It's like they were just like dating me. They did not care. It was totally fine. And when we broke up, well, first of all, I broke up with them, but it was like a breakup where I was like. Anxious attachment.
It was a threat.
It was I was like, well, I'm breaking up with you. And then I thought they were going to be like, no, I'll change
And they're
all
like,
of my
okay.
personality. And they're like, thank God you broke up with me. And then it was like 8 months of me being like, please take me back. And they were like, I'm in another relationship. Like very upset. I was done. But I was unwell. And I don't think I'll ever go through a heartbreak like that. And I think I had a friend tell me during it, she was like, well, it's because you've never experienced it before. So your body thinks it's like dying, like truly. And that is how it felt because I don't even think I really, looking back, connected with that person that much. But I was like pulling over my car to like cry on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Like
I remember after my first breakup, I woke up the next day and I have this like distinct memory of being in the car with my mom going to like lemonade or something, like to get like, I don't know, whatever, like a seared tuna salad for lunch. And I remember being in the car and being like, the world just looks different today.
It's not as vibrant.
Oh my God. Kill me. Kill me,
It's
please.
hard.
It's disgusting. I do want to know, normally we do a little recap of like this last week. Have you done any fun dating related things this past week? You can keep it vague.
Not this past week, no, because I was at home with family.
That's
Oh,
very
that's
nice.
nice.
I was in New Hampshire. It was very wholesome.
I love that.
But the weekend before I left was, do you guys know what Futch is?
No.
Futch?
Yeah,
We're
so
not cool.
It's
at
a
all.
You need to go. It's
is it
actually really
femme
fun.
butch? Is it
and
those
that's
words
probably
put together?
what it stems from.
I get
I'm
stuff.
sure.
Okay.
But it's a queer night at El Cid in like Echo Park area.
Okay.
I'm familiar. I used to host a live comedy show at the El Cid.
Okay, you get it.
Thank you.
Get it.
Thank you.
At El
It was
Cid.
us up against flamenco night. And let's just say that flamenco night really did well. It was like hard to get people to see us because
Don't tell
flamenco
people that.
night.
Don't tell
Yeah,
people
sorry.
that.
Go to Futch, ignore flamenco night. Okay, keep going. It's at the El Cid.
Yes, just a queer night there. It's really fun music. It's like just like good throwbacky,
Oh, I love
trendy,
that.
like just really good music. Room full of lesbians. Super fun.
That's fun.
Really, really
Wow.
awesome.
I really remember being like in 6th grade, being like, it's so weird that my parents listen to the same music they listened to when they were in high school. Like, listen to some new music. And I am 24 years old, and I already like only listen to these same 20 songs I listened to in high school.
Yeah.
I'm way worse than my parents were.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
like,
love
if
a
you play
throwback
TikTok
party.
by Kesha, I'll take my top off. I don't care where we
Of
are. Like,
course.
there's no
Of course.
questioning about it. I'm also realizing this is so embarrassing. My comedy show wasn't at the El Cid. It was at a different place that had a similar name.
It was next to that. It was in the parking lot.
It was in the
outside
parking lot of the El
El
Cid next to the taco truck. No, it was at a
okay.
different venue, but I was like, I have to say this because
People think you're
people will
lying.
fact check it and then come for me.
So you're
I'm so
also on
scared
the
of the
internet.
internet.
Dating is so hard, and then dating on the internet is like a whole other thing. What advice? No one's asked us this, but if they are on the internet, what advice would you give someone dating on the internet?
You've
Share-
already gotten to the question.
I don't think that's gonna be a question. Who's dating? It's very few people who are dating on.
Oh,
the
you mean
internet.
like if you're like a celesbian?
No, if you're like if you're like
Okay.
a
I just
lesbian.
heard that word for the first time.
Lesbian?
recently. Yes. So I have recently infiltrated like the queer community in LA, right?
Okay.
Welcome.
And
by doing this podcast.
Yeah.
thank you guys.
Right now,
Thank you
yeah.
guys. And I was referred to as a
Lesbian.
and I was like, I'm sorry, a what? A what now? Like I had never heard that before. So
That's very fun.
How did it feel?
I was a little bit like, wait, I don't really want to be one of those.
Why?
I don't know. That makes me feel like
You seem very down to earth.
thanks.
Yeah.
You seem like you would not like you wouldn't. I feel like, and I understand this a little bit.
Yeah.
I get very uncomfortable when people are
Yes.
like, it's
Yeah.
a hard interaction. I've told people this before. They're like, is it nice meeting fans? I'm like, of course it's so nice. Like, of course, very nice. But also, that's like not an interaction that is normal or that you could
It's so
ever
bizarre.
learn how to do in a right way because
Right.
it makes no sense.
Right. I'm always like when fans come up to me, I'm always like, okay, wait, let me give them my full attention. I'm like,
Yes.
oh my god. Like I freak out more than them. I feel.
And then
like.
by the end,
Yes.
because I always feel this, by the end, I'm like, they want to leave. Like, I have like forced them to talk to me for like an hour, and they're like, I literally just want to say hi, like,
Yeah.
get away from me.
They're like, okay, bye. I'm like, wait.
We also always have this interaction where sometimes people will approach us and they'll look at Kendahl or I or both of us and be like, "Are you?"
And then it's like, what can I say?
And just
to that?
nothing. And Kendahl and I are like, we absolutely can't
No.
be like,
yes.
yes. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna say, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm assuming they're gonna be like, oh, are you on Good Mythical Morning, or like, do you make the mom videos on TikTok or like whatever? But I don't know, so I just then look
So
at
then
them.
it's a long stream of like, well, do you go to the YMCA?
Yeah, we try to
Are you
act like it's
library
like
members?
not-
They're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no.
Because people will be like, you look familiar. And I'm not going to be like, oh, I post online. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like, what if they're like, oh, my friend is like friends with your friend. And then I'm like,
Yes.
right.
Right.
And you've
That's
been like,
right.
I'm famous.
yeah, and they're like, I don't
And
have a
they're like,
phone. Get away from me.
No, not
So, yeah,
that.
TikTok is, yeah.
But
That's
what?
the
But
biggest
you're a lesbian. What is it? What advice would you give to another lesbian?
Don't share anything. Share as little as possible.
So do you feel like sharing your dating life on the internet has been detrimental?
I wouldn't say detrimental, but it's been an experience.
Sure.
It's just made any feeling or experience or emotion greater than it would have been because it's not just my emotion I'm experiencing, it's everyone else experiencing it with me.
Yeah.
So it's like it just makes everything feel larger than it really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does it make it feel better in any way knowing you have people's support, or does that still also kind of feel irrelevant because you also have people's
Yeah.
hate, frustration, whatever?
No, it definitely helps. Like, because you have to, breakups just feel isolating. So
Yeah.
any support you can get feels nice. So when, you date online and then there's a breakup and then you are getting the support from people online, like, it is nice to be like, well, I'm feeling this way, but look, I have this like support system behind me.
Yeah.
So I think it does help in a sense. Yeah.
Do you read the comments?
All of them.
Wow.
All of them. Like, to
I
a
could
point,
never.
I shouldn't.
What does your therapist say?
Oh, I don't reveal that information with her. I do not.
Why is this?
You're like,
my
I'll get in too much
therapist-
trouble.
I need to talk to my therapist about how I'm like, I don't tell you anything that's wrong in my life. I literally just like come up with a thing that I've already figured out in my head, and then I'm like, okay, great, we did a great session.
Yeah.
Bye.
It's like I've already actually talked through this in my head, but I'm gonna just share it with you. But the stuff
Yeah.
that I actually need help with,
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, we just had a whole conversation about this about reading comments, and I was because I don't read comments. I think probably because I do like comedy online and I do characters, so it's often comments about like. Their comments are not very interesting. They're not really comments about me, so it's kind of easier to not like care because it's just being like, haha, this was, and I don't want to read that. But ever so often when I do read a comment, especially like we do this podcast together and we're engaged, and it's like if I read a comment about Jordan seemed really this way in this moment, and I'm like, oh, interesting. I like would never have thought that in my entire life. And I think if I was reading that all the time, it would like really warp my brain.
Why aren't you defending me?
Because they're probably right. I was it's like, wait, Jordan was kind of rude
Jordan
in that
hates
moment.
Kendall. Yeah, I saw that on one social clip where it was like, we were talking about like, I was talking about when you come home drunk and then you dance.
Oh, we saw the same one. That was the same.
Yeah,
thing.
and I'm always like, you're always like, pay attention to me. And I was like, I'm filing our taxes or like whatever important thing I'm supposed to be doing. Kendall's like, but watch me dance. And then if I don't, she's like, you hate me. And people were like, wow, it does seem like Jordan hates her.
Oh, please.
That actually is a
people
problem.
be like, that was way too personal. I'm like, who do you think edits this podcast?
Right.
Like, I edit. It's not like
You're not following us around with a camera.
But it is just so it can really rot your brain. And I also think both ways too. Like I don't want to read positive comments either. Cause I'm like, yeah, when someone like comments and is like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's like, that's actually not true and also not like helpful at all. But so did you have that with relationships where you're like, people are hyping this up so much? Did that put like pressure on it?
Yeah, well, definitely my first public relationship. And I'm like, okay with talking about Avery. Everyone knows me and Avery.
We were not going to say it.
Everyone knows me and Avery. Like, yeah, I feel like with that relationship, we both had our own platforms, but we were known so just like for so long as Soph and Avery. So there was like this pressure of like, you have to stay Soph and Avery. And we didn't like talk about this pressure though. Like it wasn't like we have to make a video together today, but it was like, oh, we need a video. Like, let's do this one together. Like people will love it. So it was just like this pressure, like this weird extra part of a relationship that's like not human and like not normal.
Yes.
Gets like added to it. Yeah.
I always think about that with prank channels. I find them so bizarre. What'll be like a couple doing pranks and they're like bloody on the floor of their bathroom and they like have a camera up and I'm like, well, this person, they have a prank channel together and they have like 10 million followers. So this is their job.
It's their full-time job.
Obviously they're like planning all like this would be, and if you're still falling for these pranks and if this really is genuine, like that person needs to be like, their brain needs to be checked out. They're like so gullible.
Right.
But I'm like, how are people like eating this up, and what a weird relationship to have where you have to like, or the videos where it'll be like, I like put roses out for my girlfriend and I'm going to see her reaction, but they do it like every day. I'm like, that's such a bizarre relationship.
So bizarre.
Unless you're really able to separate it. But sometimes I'm like, are people like, did you find it easy to separate?
I mean, in a sense, yeah. Like we definitely had our separate. Well, actually, you know what it was? It was that what we shared online was very much what it was in real life.
Sure.
But there was definitely like that, you know, I don't know. That's just like such a weird concept to like be sharing parts of your relationship online like that. Like we shared a lot. Yeah. Like everyone honestly knew like most of everything while we were together, and then also when we broke up. So it was just like crazy.
Is there like behind the scenes fighting or fight? Like do you like, because I know some couples will just be like, we're fighting, or like very publicly. Felt like y'all didn't seem like you had that. Was there like more, not in an abnormal way, in a very normal way that couples fight, like we argue all the time, but was there more of that? Did you guys keep that stuff private? Yeah,
we definitely didn't share like any adversities online for sure. We only shared like the good stuff, of course, but
I think that's good. I think there's this weird thing online now where it's like, share all of you. Like you need to be authentic with your audience. And I'm like, why?
That's
like,
not authenticity. A lack of privacy is not authenticity. And I say that as like, you know, I've been a comedian for a long time, and a lot of what I've done in my career is like making jokes about myself and talking about myself and being a personality, but that doesn't, I don't know, like matter in terms of how authentic I am. A lot of the comedians you see talking about themselves are making stuff up and making jokes up, and I'm comfortable sharing things, but also like I should be allowed to have privacy because I'm just a normal person. Yeah, I guess inauthentic would be if we were like, we never argue, we never have issues, we're perfect, and then that's not true. But it's like, that is, I don't need to tell you what I'm arguing about. That's not helpful. Right, of course. Yeah, it's also like, I'm sorry, I don't want to watch a video of you and Avery arguing. I wanted to watch you guys do your little dance.
That's what I'm saying.
I wanted to do an Aeropostale haul and a dance or whatever. Like that's what I wanted to see.
You know what video had a chokehold on me? What? I don't. I sound like creeper too. But I learned this dance via watching you do, because I like really, I'm a horrible dancer, like genuinely I'm a really bad dancer, but I really wanted to learn a TikTok dance, and I learned the one that was like, cut the check, bust it down. Oh my god, you have been around for a long time. And I was like, I have to learn this dance, and I learned it via you, and I literally remember then I recorded myself, and it was horrible and unpostable. And then I like clicked out of it, and it was because I used your sound, and it went back to you. And I remember being like, I've never felt worse about myself. I looked like it was so bad. I was
That's
such a bad
crazy
dancer.
because that video is horrifying to me nowadays. I'm like, I can't look back at the old videos. I can't.
How far, like, what's the furthest you can look back and be like, this is good, I'm glad? And then when does it start to become, oh no?
I would say I can look back to like August 2022 and be like, yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Beyond
Sure.
that, I'm like, what is that?
What
is that?
But you were so young. I'm like, I think about me because you were like 18 when you started.
I was
No.
like 19,
19.
20, yeah.
The things I would have posted on the internet if I had attention, you don't. It would have been so bad. I only had a Facebook when I was 19, and I posted a coming out video to my mom's friends. Basically, is only who it was.
Perfect.
The most embarrassing thing I've ever done in my entire life. I have since deleted it, but
Yeah.
I don't know what if people were like giving me feedback. I would have been like, every day you're getting something
Well,
crazy.
and what made it worse is that it used to be like you're supposed to be cringy on TikTok. Like that's like what everyone was doing. So it's like I really went in on that one.
Yeah.
Like I
It
really
was a different time. Hey, but it made you some money, and I love that. I think that's so important. I'm like, if you look back on it, you're like, yikes, but it made you money. Can you be mad?
it's memories at the
It's
very
memories,
least.
it's dollars. It's, Okay, let's get into some of the questions that our
Yes.
fans have about their exes.
Amazing.
Are you good bringing them on your phone?
I'm good,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I know, you
we-
hate doing it.
I hate having. I can't do two things that I get
I know.
really like.
Multitasking,
What question are we on? I don't know.
I know, I'm sorry.
We asked our wonderful listeners. And
You?
I thought you were talking to me. I was like,
No,
no,
that's
them.
you.
If you had any questions about your exes specifically, as if we have information on all their exes.
Yeah.
And if you
I've
wanna
looked
send-
up all your exes, and I have their
We'll pull up
addresses.
pictures
Yeah,
as
yeah,
we
yeah.
answer the
Yes.
questions.
what we think about them, and if you have questions, you want to tell them where they can email.
Oh, that's so rude because you're asking me to do it because you can't remember
I have
the
absolutely
email.
no idea the email.
I think it's hwhlpodquestions@gmail.com. It's on our link tree in our bio though, so just go to Instagram and you'll find it there.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This first question is, how long is too long after a breakup to keep checking up on an ex? So I'm assuming that like looking at social media, maybe doing a mild reach out, like when should that stop after a breakup?
Ideally immediately.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. However, realistically,
But honestly,
realistically, give yourself like a month or so to just really be invested in them and their every move.
Yeah.
And then put the phone down. Like
Yeah.
it's eventually like at some point you're just harming yourself way more than helping.
absolutely.
Like checking on them does nothing.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
Are you a block, unfriend type of person, or do you just have the willpower to not look?
I would love to be a block person because I don't want to see it. Because I just want to I want to close that chapter and I want to walk away for my own like healing and well-being. But I can't because if I kindly blocked someone for my own good, it would turn into like drama online because
Of
people
course.
Wow.
check who I follow.
And
Yes.
that would bother you. You would not like this
I would,
information.
yes, I don't like. I learned from me and Avery's breakup. Like, anything you do becomes drama with lesbian breakups online.
Of course.
So I would love to be a block person, but I just stay
Are unable
following.
to. Can I ask, because I had heard one time on a podcast this lesbian talking about how she and her partner had been really private for a really long time. They didn't want to talk about the relationship, and she was kind of insecure at first about it, that she felt like she was being hidden. And then her partner was like, well, I was really scared in the beginning because if we ever broke up, like I would be tagged in photos of you and videos of you, and I would see edits of us like over and over and over again, and I don't think I could do it. Was that like very horrible for you?
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Even like I see people will make new edits
No.
of old relationships. Like they'll take really old videos, literally like 3-year-old videos, and then like make new. And I'm like,
Stop
what
it.
is happening?
Stop it.
Sorry, it's our listeners. They've been doing it.
Someone tell them to stop it. That's wild.
it's crazy. Or like just people will know that I've broken up with someone, and then my whole For You page is edits, like sad breakup edits, and I'm like.
And does it make you cry?
Not cry, but it is like I'm not looking at their stuff, I'm not talking to them, and then I'm scrolling and I'm like, like I'm like, stab, because I see an edit on my For You page and I'm like, I'm not trying to look at this.
That's
I'm
also
like,
sick that TikTok is serving you your own breakup
absolutely.
edits.
It's
That's
like,
disgusting.
look at this. Look at
That's
this.
so horrible.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I'm always like, what are therapists of influencers even saying to you? Because it's like, that's not, that is like, that, there's no psychology book that's like, here's how to get through a breakup.
There
when
needs to be like
people,
new training
right.
for mental health professionals of how to deal with the
Because it's
internet.
like, that's crazy. Your brain is not supposed, that is so insane.
Yeah,
I
for
also am
sure.
always like, have these people been in a relationship before?
No.
Because I'll
The
see
answer is
sometimes,
no.
I'll see people like break up on the internet and then like a relationship from 4 years ago. Yeah, it's like an edit of them. And it's like, you can tell they still, or we see this all the time with like Justin Bieber
Yes.
and Selena.
Yes.
And I'm like, have you been in a relationship? Like, are you still thinking about your ex from 8 years ago?
Right.
Like, absolutely not.
Give
Like,
it up.
and
Give it up.
literally, you're not thinking about it, especially if you have a new partner. It's like, and if you are, that's not romantic. Like, that's insane.
Mhm.
But I'm like, these people are not gonna like get, and if they get back together, that's great. But also, like, they're not, it's not like this. Like, any relationship I had from 5 years ago, I'm like, not thinking about that person.
For sure. Like, there's even edits, like, while I was in my most recent relationship, it like started with Avery. And it was like me and Avery, and then it was like, it would like transition and be like hot videos of my most recent ex-girlfriend. Like, and I'm like, who in their right mind was like, yeah.
And then
You're
imagine
like, this
Avery
is so
good.
unwell.
Imagine that getting served to Avery as well. Like, what a mind fuck to be like watching videos of you and then you're.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
And to be clear, you and Avery seem like you're on good terms.
We are on good terms, yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
I love that. That's so nice. That leads us into some new questions.
Okay.
How do you make slime?
Yeah.
Let me call her up. Okay.
Yeah. We're trying to get her on the podcast. Great. People want to know, when is it acceptable to initiate contact with your ex? And is it normal to start being friends with them, to want to be friends with them? How does that happen? What's appropriate? What's inappropriate?
I feel like that's so subjective.
Absolutely.
Like, it really, really depends. I mean, I really feel like you need to be in a place personally where your feelings for them aren't like romantic anymore, which is like, you can't even necessarily guarantee that you're going to really ever get to that place where you're like okay with like putting the romance aside.
Sure.
But I feel like you need to be healed in a sense to even like welcome them back.
Yeah.
However, I'm a hypocrite because when Avery and I became friends initially after everything went down, I definitely wasn't healed yet. And in a weird way, being friends with her healed me.
Yeah.
So it's so subjective. And I feel like you really have to just look within yourself. Like, really be like, am I okay to welcome this person in? And am I okay with being hurt by them again?
Yes.
Because you're putting yourself in that position.
Yes. I have a question about that. Feel free not to answer this. But when you and Avery started being friends again, were you not healed personally? Like, I'm not healed, I still have hurt? Or were you like, I want to get back together? Because I think that's a big differentiation for people of like, when maybe is a good time to reach out.
Definitely different. Yeah. No, I was hurt by what I had gone through, but what I had gone through had made me lose feelings for her in that way.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So you weren't like, we're going to be friends again, but I still want to try to get back together.
Right. Yeah. We never like had that like, oh, are we going to get back together thing. It was very like,
that's it.
We
It's
were
laid to
friends.
rest.
It's hard to come back from that. That's
What
hard to
happened?
Yeah.
what happened?
A lot happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally,
A lot.
professionally, a lot happened.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but I totally understand how it's easy to lose, especially like, I don't know, I feel like for me, if you really broke my trust, I feel like I would lose a lot of romantic attraction to you, because that is something that's so attractive to me, is being able to trust you and feel comfortable with you. So if you did something just like totally out of character, I'd be like, ew, I don't want to date you anymore.
I also think it's so different because, like you said, I think it's also like if you've grown I think it's so hard in your early 20s because there is people be like 2 years, that's such short, but it's like what I was like at 21 is like, oh my God, so different from where I'm at 24.
Yeah.
And I think as you get older, it kind of slows down a little bit, but your brain is literally like fully developing. But I do think if someone's older, I could see more being like, oh, we can be friends now.
Right.
But sometimes I'm like, I don't need any more friends. You know what I mean? I'm like, I have friends. I don't want any more friends. So whenever I've had an ex who's like, well, we should still be like, let's still like check in. Like I've always been like, it's just not worth it for me because I can find other friends, but I don't need to like put myself through this feeling.
Yeah.
But if it's a long time, but I think sometimes people will be like right after a breakup, be like, I've heard people be like, well, we'll get through the breakup together. And I'm like, it feels like you're just elongating the breakup.
I think like whenever I'm going through a breakup at first, that's what I want. I'm like, oh, I want it. Like we're the only ones that understand it. Like, but it's not smart. It's like,
Yeah, well, because it's just still dating.
of course,
It's just like, let's
it's
get through
keeping
this
them around.
together, and
Yeah.
we'll also have sex sometimes. Or like, it's like, that's just dating.
Yeah.
That's just working through a problem together. Okay. The next question is, what do you do if it has been months and you still have some of their stuff and they still have some of yours?
Oh.
Throw it away.
Okay, and you're okay with them throwing away your stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if it's been months, like you just can't. It's like, it's also like, don't let them know you're still thinking about. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
like you got rid of it a long time ago. Like you don't need to. I don't know.
I
Like,
guess if it's like their grandma's ashes, that
Maybe
you know,
so.
like, oh, I need to.
Yeah,
like,
if your
return-
ex left her grandma's ashes at your
you know
house,
what? Yeah,
you should
maybe.
reach out.
Yeah. I think though, if it is something important, like maybe you don't even have to personally deliver it. Like reach out to their friend, maybe.
Yes.
You know?
Have your friend and their friend do a little handoff.
little switch.
Or just like leave a box outside their front door. Like for me, I'm kind of just like, hey, like immediately after the breakup, don't hang on to things. My friend Reka taught me this, and she was like, don't hang on to things in hopes that you might get back together, because if you do get back together, which some people do, and that's great and that's fine and that's awesome, you will acquire new things.
You can buy a new toothbrush for them. You don't have to
Yes,
keep
or
it
you
in
can
their
keep,
house.
you know, that like stuffed animal they gave you. Like they'll get you another stuffed animal if you get back together.
And why would you even want to remember that?
Exactly. It's like if you hold on to those things, you will just have them as a reminder of like the before and then the breakup and whatever. It's like if you get back together, you'll get new things. So just get rid of those things. So I'm like, the day you break up, just be like, hey, I'm gonna drop a box of your stuff at your house.
and just
do
be
the same for
so
me.
for real with yourself, because it's like, I feel like some people go through breakups and they're just finding these smallest excuses to like see the person, do the thing. And it's like, well, I have to go see him because I have to get my
Right.
hair tie from him.
You're like,
and
I
it's
found
like,
a sock under my dryer. Is that yours? Should I swing by?
it's like, no, just be real.
Yeah,
be
no.
for real with yourself.
I think though, if it's like something that's super sentimental to you, like if it was a gift or a note or something, and you're like, that's a memory. Like I have a box of
So do we.
just
Yeah.
like, it's just, I don't dare open it, but it's there and it has the memories, and like, I'm not going to throw them away because like that was special at one point to me, and like
Sure.
it still is, but like I'm not going to actively look at it.
Yeah.
So I think if you're not going to give something back and you don't want to throw it away, tuck it away at least so that you can't see it.
I have a personal question. I have a piece of jewelry that I was given by an ex a
Oh.
long time ago. I do not want it. It is ugly. I do think maybe it has diamonds in it.
I want to see it.
What?
Sell it.
But where? Where do I take it?
A pawn shop?
That's the only
Yeah,
place?
maybe. I actually have no idea.
Do you
I
want
don't
to keep
either.
it?
No, I want to get rid of it, but I don't know where to
Oh.
take it.
But you think it's worth a lot of money?
I don't think it's worth a lot of money, but I'm like,
upset
if I can
just
get
hearing about
like,
this. We've had some months where we could have used this.
well, I'm like, listen, if I can get $40,
Yeah,
let's go
I
to the
think
Cheesecake
pawn shop,
Factory. Like, you
yeah.
know what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
pawn shop is the.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, all right.
And maybe we'll end up on Pawn Wars or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Pawn Stars.
That would be so crazy if you were watching Pawn Stars and then you saw your ex come in trying to sell something you own. That
Absolutely.
would be so crazy.
What do you do when you see your ex often, aka out at lesbian bars, is what this person said. But I think this is relatable to straight people too.
I would cry. I don't
Really?
see my exes often.
Okay.
I really don't.
I feel like that makes sense into the social media world where it's kind of like you have to be very intentional. Like most people don't see each other ever.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd handle that. Especially like so fresh after a breakup.
Yeah, you're all at Futch. What happens?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Soph has a panic attack on her episode.
It would ruin my night.
Would
I
you just
don't-
leave probably?
I would probably leave, yeah.
Okay.
Because I can think of situations where I did run into exes and I do leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would. Well, now it's different now because I'm engaged to you. So I think normally I would just be like, "Hi, how are you?" If I saw them and
Yeah,
we
I
were
guess
chill.
if we were there and you ran out crying, I'd be like, maybe we should talk about this.
Yeah, because I'm not fresh off any breakups, so I would just be like, "Hey, how are you?" Or just like not speak to them if we like weren't
Yeah.
like friendly or whatever. But I do think in the past, right after a breakup, I would be like, "I'm going to the center of the dance floor," and I'm like, just like touching my breasts and dancing and like being really sexy, being like, "God, I'm gonna
Wow.
show them what
Look
they
what you missed out on.
missed."
They left 30 minutes
I know,
ago.
yeah, they're not there, but I'm just like twirling my hair and like looking around, being like, they're here somewhere and they see me.
I went through my first breakup in acting school, and it was horrible because the teachers at acting school famously are very toxic and upsetting and just not nice people. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And if they knew you went through a breakup, they would like pair you and that person together to do like a love scene.
Yeah,
And
wait, you went to college for dance.
Sort of, yes.
Did they not do that stuff?
No.
Okay.
They make you do a contemporary dance.
Yeah.
Some really dramatic love song. They literally, it never happened to me, but I had a friend who and her boyfriend broke up, and then they paired them together from a scene, I think from Angels in America.
Probably.
Something where they were like,
We were
in
all
love,
doing
and they
scenes
were
from
like,
Angels in
I
America.
cheated on you.
Yeah.
And then it was like really dramatic, and both of them were crying. And I was like, feels like cheating because both of them got a really good grade. And I was like, that was not acting.
That's not acting.
Like,
Right,
I'm
that's
having to
real
do
life.
it with James, this random guy
Right.
that I had,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
no sexual, I'm a lesbian and I'm having to do with him, and
Right.
I'm getting a bad grade because I can't, like, I don't want to have sex with him.
Right.
Very unfair, but just very hard to see your exes.
Yeah.
It's hard to, like, we work with them sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Very like that. Yeah.
I'm shocked you don't see them more. I feel like the LA lesbian community is so small.
It is. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't matter if I ran into Avery. We'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
We'd like show up together. But, yeah, I don't.
Are you a homebody?
Yes.
I am too.
I am. Most recently, though, I've been out on the town.
Okay.
She's out and about.
I've been out and about.
Butch,
I
watch
love
out.
it.
Yeah, I've been to every foot since I found out what it was.
I love that.
Soap too.
Okay.
But yeah, I genuinely, I mean, I've run into my ex's friends and left because I was like, that was very soon after the breakup, but I was like, too much.
Does it feel like triggering to you personally, or does it feel like drama? Are you like what is the impulse to leave? Because I would literally never leave, which maybe is my toxic trait. So I'm just curious.
I think it would be partly drama.
Okay.
Like it would be, especially like within queer spaces, like if me and my ex are in the building, there's going to be a video and it's going to turn into something.
Sure.
But aside from social media, like it's going to ruin my night because all I'm going to be doing is, are they looking at me? Who are they talking to?
Right.
Like, so I'm out. Like, I'm not going to ruin my own night.
Are you wanting to work to a place where you're like, oh, I don't care what's posted about me on social media. I can just like live freely.
That doesn't exist.
I would love to be there. I don't foresee that for myself,
It's
but I would love to.
impossible. I think that would be such an unrealistic. Sorry,
So-
Kendall asked you this question. I'm answering it for you, but I am like, Kendall, cut her some
No,
slack.
I couldn't do it. I'm not saying you should do it. I just
Yeah.
think I couldn't do that. But I think some people, it's like, because if I know some celebrity, like we had Amber Rose on one time, and we were talking to her about how like she obviously went through a public breakup, and she was like, yeah, I mean, like everything that's online is like fake, or like made up, or like people will say to the tabloids like this happened, and it just like straight up didn't happen.
But
Is
she
there?
is from a different point in fame where like now it's so hard to be famous without having such an unbelievable parasocial relationship with people on social media, which I think I'm like, yeah, I think I could be like George Clooney and not care what people think about me. Do you know what I mean? Like I think I could be multi-millionaire movie star who lives in a mansion behind a wall and like not care what people think.
We talk about this all the time where it's so weird. I don't know if you relate to this, but it's kind of like social media is so bizarre because you're given so much exposure. You're given so much, like people know you. You go out and you get recognized. People want to talk to you, like all this, but you're not making like, obviously we're very lucky to like make good money doing what we do, but we're not making like the level of money that we could hire security or like live in a house with security or like live in, but we still have like a lot of things that come with that. So I feel like a relationship would feel similar where it's like we can't really have privacy because we're also just like normal people going out and doing stuff. But at the same time, like,
but I'm not rich enough to make it where I'm like, it's fine, I don't need privacy. You know, I'll create my own privacy. I'm like, Kendall and I still have to walk our dog outside of our apartment building where like people can drive by and
it
see
is
us.
scary. Like I've walked my dog and my dog's my videos sometimes. People come up and be like, oh my God, I love your videos. And then I have to like walk into my apartment and be like, this
you know
is
where
my
I live
house.
now. Yeah.
Not that I think anyone's going to do anything bad, but it is just like, oh, that is a hard part of being on social media.
That did happen to me one time. I had a follower come up to me right outside my old apartment building. Amazing encounter.
Yeah.
Incredible encounter. But I was like, oh my God, that was right outside where I live.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little spooky.
Yeah. Well, and you're like, they seem chill.
But who knows?
I hope.
Yeah,
You're just like, I don't know.
Right.
So I think that's
Very
hard.
No, I'm not saying you should. That is like impossible to me. I'm just like,
leave
is that
her alone.
It is so bad. Jordan's like, how dare you? No, I just could not do that. But I do think it's like I would just have. But I know so much false. Basically, I'm just impressed because I feel like you don't even comment on a lot of drama. But if I was going through a breakup and someone was like on social media being like, well, I know Kendahl did this, I would have to make a video and be like, so here's part 62 of I did not do that, and here's what actually happened.
Right.
Like I would be so. So I just feel like that is so hard.
I do feel like though, like silence is so loud in a good way.
Yes.
And this is cliche, but like actions speak so much louder than words. So like, although a lot of false narratives get put online, like people can still see through. Like,
Sure.
If I don't know, I just feel like if I went online and I start just like blasting all the tea and the drama, like it's just gonna start more drama.
Yeah.
Like if you're silent about it, like people will just read into whatever they want to read into. and fill in their own blanks.
Yeah.
But then they'll get over it, and you're not like feeding them more.
Right.
I think that's smart. I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
Is it okay to date my best friend's ex?
Wait,
The ex
wait.
became my roommate after the breakup.
Are they close with their friends?
I actually don't think this matters at all. Do whatever you want.
Best friends.
Who
Ex.
cares?
Wait, let me try to like put it into my life. Best friends. No, what? It doesn't matter. What?
Who cares? Who even
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah, I don't think that.
Are they
would
your
work.
friend?
Yeah, that the web is there anyways. The lesbian web is there. Like that makes sense. That
Yeah,
adds up.
maybe if you were straight, but I don't.
Yeah,
even
maybe
think
it's
then, but
no.
I feel
Even
like I've
then, I
dated
don't
my
care.
best friend's friends.
I definitely have.
Yeah, I said I dated my best friend.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, that's
Actually-
normal. No, I think it doesn't
think
matter.
that's okay.
Once if I have to read the question more than once to understand your relationship to
Right.
this person, you can date them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's fine.
Mhm.
Okay. They turned out to be a shit person,
Mhm.
but the sex was A++. Is mentally reliving it often weird?
Often.
reliving the sex.
Yeah,
Like, while you,
mentally,
like-
even though they're a
okay.
bad person.
Like, I mean, do your thing.
Yeah.
Like, no one has to know.
It's not
That's
the
very
worst.
true.
That's not the worst thing people fantasize about. I would tell you that.
Yeah,
There's a
Kendall,
lot
I
worse
guess
stuff.
that's true. Guess there are much worse things you can fantasize about.
I mean, it's just in your own head. I'm like, I guess that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
who cares?
I guess it depends on how bad they are.
I feel like a lot of people fantasize about having sex with celebrities, and I feel like celebrities are some of the worst people you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah, no, that's so fair. Yeah.
Have you ever fantasized about a celebrity?
I'm sure.
Sierra.
Yeah.
Who's like your celebrity obsession that you would
Mm,
fantasize about?
Tate McRae,
Very
Okay.
good. Another dancer.
another dancer.
Wow.
Tate
You
McRae.
guys would dance together so beautifully.
We would actually marry together beautifully.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tate McRae, we know you listen to this podcast.
Tate McRae. If you
I
ever
think you
want
guys
to
could
date
do-
women,
yeah.
actually.
Oh, she's straight.
I think she's straight. yeah.
Right. Okay. Tate.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Tate.
Tate. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Um.
I'm trying to think of my exes. I don't think I
Why?
have
Stop it.
them.
Stop that.
I don't think I have many. I was just trying to think of who they even were.
Mhm.
I feel like it is really hard when you're young though, where you're just like, I feel like when I was young, I was going on so many dates. I feel like now there would be more exes. You had a lot of like serious relationships. I didn't really have
Not a
any.
lot, but I think I had.
Yes, you did. You had like
No.
4 long-term relationships.
No, I had three long-term relationships, like one in
Okay.
high school, one in college, one after college,
Okay.
and then some other people that I didn't date
between.
for as long.
Sure.
But that's like it's not that crazy to have like a high school
No.
boyfriend.
I mean,
or what, you know?
I dated boys.
You did?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I never did.
but like I don't really even.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. It's fine. You gotta suss things
Were
out,
having
you
them
know?
as exes, were you ever like, oh, why don't I care very much? Or like, or did you care?
I like it was odd because like I can think of this one boy and he was so sweet. We broke up and I was sad because like you miss like the person, but I more so like felt bad for him. Like I was like, oh, he's sad. Like he was so sweet, but I wasn't like, oh, I really am sad about him.
Yeah. That's how I never really dated, but in middle school I had a boyfriend, and I remember sending my friend to break up with him for me.
Classic.
And I remember my friend's mom sat me down and gave me like a really harsh talking to and was like, that was really unkind. And I remember just not understanding because I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I
like
actually don't
this
care about
breakup
him at
wasn't
all.
a big
Yeah.
deal at all.
You're like, I'm a lesbian. Why are you talking to me?
But she was like,
adult?
well, he was really upset. And I was like, he was? Like, I like couldn't comprehend that he had
Right.
any feelings. I was like, we're dating because he was like my friend. Like, we're still friends now. Like, I don't really understand the difference.
Right.
Very bizarre.
Right.
Embarrassing. Okay, this person said, I unfollowed my ex on all social media when we broke up, but I'm nosy and desperately want to know what she's up to. Is it weird to ask a friend to stalk her social media for me and get some intel?
I think it's so normal.
I think it's fun.
I
Yeah.
actually get so mad when I used to have an ex and I'd be like, hey, can you like see what they're doing on their Finsta? And they'd be like, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's appropriate.
You
Yeah.
I
should
would
not
be
be
like,
friends with them
"Fuck
anymore.
yeah!"
Yeah, right. There's been times too where like I haven't been snooping, like I haven't been looking, and then I will decide to, and I'll see that like my ex has been posting like some sus things
Sure.
I'm like, and then I'll tell my friends about it. They're like, oh yeah, we saw, and I'm like,
hello.
why didn't you tell me?
So you want them to tell you?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I'm like, you gotta tell me if someone's saying stuff on my name. Like I want
Oh, about you?
or just like things that are like indirectly about me
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
It's like I want to know. Like
That's what's so hard about TikTok is that literally every trend if you're single, if you're dating someone, whatever, it's always like when a girl walks by me and I'm like, yes, but then I'm like, no. And then they're just like dancing to a song and you're like, huh.
Who's that about?
What could this mean?
I saw there's a lesbian couple going through a breakup right now.
Who is it?
To be honest, I don't know their names. And that's my truth. But they're going through a big breakup. And one of the girls keeps posting these like sounds that are and it'll be like a caption that's like,
I know who you're talking about.
It'll be like,
we'll tell you after we stop recording.
It'll be like a POV. You're not dating someone anymore who makes you feel like garbage or something like that.
And they'll be like, is this about so-and-so?
And she'll be like, no, it's not about that person. I was just generally talking. And I'm like, that is so fucked up. Like, you can't do that. It is so weird. And so I feel like sometimes on social media, I'm like, you either have to say nothing or you can just go all out. Mm-hmm. But when people will do these but I think it's so hard because also and I don't know if you struggle with this, but it's like your job. So it's like also, I know for me, every day I'm like, what the fuck am I going to post? I got to post something. So when you're going through a breakup, it's like, are you ever just like, well, I know this would do really good.
It's
so
good
let
for
me get
business.
in there.
Right. Well, I feel like the thing about me and my content is like, if I'm not posting about like girls or relationships, I'm probably going through a breakup. Like, because if I'm avoiding it at all costs, it's because I'm trying to like, I don't even want to post anything that could be like remotely like, oh my God, they broke up.
Yeah.
But then like recently I've been like, because people like that content.
They do.
Just like breakup content or like just the relatable stuff. So I've just been putting disclaimers in the caption like not about real life. And like it's not genuinely. So I'm just like, this is not shade. Like I've had like putting disclaimers.
Is it really not shade at all?
Genuinely, this most recent breakup, which I'm like, hey, haven't said that out loud. Nothing has been direct at all.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. It's so hard. You're so healthy. You're so
yeah.
I think
not in my journal.
That's good. That's healthy. That's good.
I feel like I would be like, if my numbers, if I like, which you're always just killing it, but if I ever like was like, I don't know what to post today, I'd be like, well, I'm going to post a part 20 story about my last breakup, and that'll get the creator fund really geared up.
Or like, should we break up?
Yeah, for Venus. Yeah. That is hard. Was all the questions?
Those are most of the questions. Do you have any questions?
I feel like I've been asking them as we go.
I know.
I just think it's so hard. I think social media is so fascinating, and like this is kind of a first way. Obviously, people have been on social media for so long, but I do feel like with TikTok, and maybe it was like this with Vine. I don't know. I wasn't on Vine, but there's so many people on social media, and there's just such a different world is building. Even with like brands and all of that, like the landscape is just changing so much, and I think like couples on TikTok and Instagram are such a like. They're full agencies that like represent them. Like they're a huge thing. And it is so fascinating to me. And I'm like, behind closed doors, that must be so hard sometimes.
Yeah. It's interesting. But like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, it sucks. Like genuinely it's awesome. Like it's such a cool experience. And like being part of like, I wouldn't say the first wave of like public internet lesbians, but like one of the first is really cool.
The first TikTok wave.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be part of because it's like, I mean, it's queer history in a sense. Like, it really is.
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
Cool. I mean, 100%.
I want to know, were you and Avery represented by the same management company?
We always have been, yeah.
That's so interesting.
How
it's
was
called
that?
Lesbians. It's called Florida Lesbians Media.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they produce Tampa Bays, and they represent the two of you.
Which I'm like, how come there isn't like a current...
Why can't we get a second season of Tampa Bays?
Me and my manager joke, we're like, we should have started a reality show like last year.
It sucks because I know you would be on it, and I know we would not be asked to be on it, and that does hurt. It does hurt.
It's hard. It is hard.
No one wants to know.
If it gets pitched, I'm going to say no unless you guys can
Thank
be on
you
it.
so much.
You're like, you'll have to have a separate camera at their house of them just making dinner and like watching Love is Blind, and they're like, nobody wants to see that.
Yeah. I'll start drama.
Yeah,
I'll start drama to be on TV.
Just start fighting.
Come on. We both went to acting school. We could do it.
Oh my gosh.
So was that weird when you were going through your breakup, both being represented by the same company? And did you have unfinished brand deals you had to post after you broke up?
I think there was like maybe one, but it was like, I don't even think that we had publicly broken up. Like, I don't think people knew that we were broken up yet when it was posted. But it actually wasn't that weird.
Okay.
The only thing that was weird about it was when my ex was getting canceled online, and like there was just so much drama, and so like my manager was like helping her through that, but like it was also like I see Soph's really hurt. Like I'm sure for him it was really, really odd being like, okay, I need to help one of them with their career because their career is like on a slippery slope right now, and then the other one is not okay mentally.
Yeah.
So, well, Actually, we both weren't. But
Sure.
like, I'm sure it was weird for
Yes.
him to like. But
Yeah.
for me and Avery, like, at least from my point of view, it wasn't really ever weird that we were in the same management, except when there was an event that our management put on, and everyone involved in the situation was all present.
Sure.
Didn't expect that. Really caught me off guard.
You
It
weren't
was-
told?
I didn't. I was not told, but I also did not ask. And it was just a situation where a lot went down, and it was just a lot.
Well, it's hard because you're also probably like, well, I'm trying to be professional. But it's like, what
Yes.
other professional setting is it like, well, your ex and her new
Right.
whoever is showing up and you're not supposed to know. It's like
Yeah.
that, and everyone in the office also knows all the drama.
Yeah, it's like that's
the
not happening if
normals.
you work at Bank of America together.
Right.
you
It was like
know?
I walked in, and everyone was like, and everyone was like, like it was like awkward.
Wow.
That's very stressful. Yeah, I do remember when I had heard you guys broke up, the first thing I thought was, wow, they still have probably brand deal contracts that they have to like do together.
We
was
also
my
though
first
like
thought.
didn't have many joint
That's
brand
great.
deal
That's
things.
good. That's healthy.
So like I think there was like one I posted where I mentioned her name in the video, but
Sure.
that was like the only thing that got posted after the fact.
I feel like
That's
you guys
great.
had a really separate like you had like separate content. Which
yeah,
you did. I
you've
think
been
it's,
very like separate people, which I think is great.
I think just like in a relationship, if it's like codependent, it's like, well, could it not exist if you guys weren't together? And I don't think either of you had like content that's like, well, what would it even be without? Which there are couples on TikTok that I'm like, that is so wild.
Right.
That's like they really are just like, here's everything about us and what we're going through
Right.
and our journey with fertility and all of
Right,
that. And you're
right.
like, man, that is so hard.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just feel like you're doing such a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Do you
And
have
we have to go
anything?
to what's it called?
Futch.
Futch.
We have
You need
to.
to
You
go.
have to take us to Fush.
Uh-huh.
Futch.
Fudge. Kendahl. Oh my
Foosh,
god.
foosh. I mean it French.
Foosh.
Fancy lesbian.
Kendahl.
My friend calls it futch, and I'm always like,
Yeah.
it's futch.
It's Futch because I think it's femme butch.
Must
Comment
be.
if I'm wrong, but I think it's like femme butch.
Gotta be.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. You're asking the completely wrong person.
That's true. You don't know.
Absolutely.
Anything
Have you ever
that's
been to gay
going on.
astrology?
No.
You
Oh,
should
gay
go.
astrology is
It's
fun.
What is that?
It's like another. It's like a.
It's like another like gay dance
Oh my
night,
gosh.
and
Fun.
it's
Fun.
each one is a different like astrology theme, and if it's your sign
Yeah.
for that month, you get in for free.
Oh
What's
my
your
god.
sign?
Gemini.
So it's coming up.
Ooh, yeah.
Right?
That's exciting. I love that, and I should have guessed. I love Geminis. People really hate them.
People hate them.
My
yeah.
best friend Colin is a Gemini, and I just get along with them really well. I'm not into astrology, but
Yeah.
I just know that people hate Geminis.
I
but
think it
then-
depends on your
Geminis.
sign because I feel like people who hate Geminis in the same way that like people who hate Capricorns hate Capricorns.
Sure.
Mm.
But like if you're a person who's compatible with a Gemini, because I've always only loved Geminis.
Yeah.
Capricorns, don't get me started.
I don't know.
My grandma and my ex-girlfriend, both rude.
The two worst women in your
Capricorns.
life,
Yeah.
your grandma and your ex-girlfriend. Okay, and do you have anything professionally coming up? Things you want people to keep a lookout for?
Where can they find you?
Oh my gosh.
Where can they find you?
I mean, I'm just kind of cruising. Nothing's too crazy coming up in the works.
Great.
Just doing my thing. But just at Soph Mosca on everything.
Incredible.
Yeah.
A treat.
Yeah,
A treat. And
incredible.
you have such a cute dog. I was
Thank
looking
you.
at your Instagram today. I was like, what? And I showed
Uh-huh.
Jordan your dog because that's like my dream dog.
Well, you didn't show
My
me. I knew
rat.
the dog.
Yes, but I was like, this is the dog I want.
Yes.
What's their name?
Augie.
Augie.
Very
Mhm.
sweet.
So cute.
He's my rat. Yeah,
Is he?
I love
He's
that.
a Iggy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like my. I've always wanted. Jenna
Yeah.
Marbles used to have.
Uh-huh.
Iggies, and
That's where
was
I
like,
first saw them.
Really?
Mhm.
I was like, one day
Wow.
I have to.
Mhm.
They look so cute.
Mhm.
I love that.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
and we
having
do have to
me.
ask. I'm sure that people want to know.
Yeah.
Are you single?
I am single.
All right. Okay. Leave
Okay,
her
join
alone.
our Patreon for
Join
her number.
Yeah,
I'm
join her
kidding.
Patreon. No,
Go
our
to
yeah,
Futch.
go to
You go to
Futch.
Futch.
Join. You can only go to Futch if you join our Patreon. But yeah, well, thank you so much for doing the podcast. This was
thank
so
you.
wonderful. I was like, she is either going to be the meanest person I've ever met or the nicest person I've ever met because she's like a very beautiful TikTok dancer. I'm like, there's no in
you.
between. You're literally the nicest person I've ever met.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
our last guest, Soph came in when our last guest was in, and she was like, who is that?
She was
I was
like,
like-
should I leave? She seems famous.
And then we were like, that's Soph, and she was like, and what's her deal? She does beauty content, and we were like, she doesn't talk like this. Also, I don't know. I'm making
why are
her
you
like
giving
a
her this weird-
rough man. She
Yeah.
was like that, but then she was like,
who was that?
Yeah, she was like,
and she had a gun. It was crazy.
she was like beauty content. I was like, well, she's a lesbian, and she was like, she's a lesbian. Oh my! So very excited. So you got one fan.
You got a new fan today.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And we were already fans. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you're not already following Soph, go follow Soph,
Totally.
obviously, but I'm sure you're all already following.
And if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcasts, please make sure to rate, review, join our Patreon for an extra episode and other little things all throughout the month. And thank you so much for listening.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.